Hey, good evening, friends. How are you doing? I'm back. Thank goodness, not back from the dead. I don't think it was close to it this time. Definitely some medical issues going on. Got everything resolved. Well, for the most part, resolved. I don't know. Who knows? Some people say heat stroke, cardio event, seizure. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm doing better. I'm going to my doctors the way I'm supposed to. I haven't gone to a nephrologist for 5 years. I don't know. I, I hate doctors. Back in the day when I was really sick. I mean, like real sick. Um, they dicked around for probably a year and a half before I found a doctor that actually figured out what was going on with me and figured everything out for the most part. Uh, but I went back to a nephrologist a couple weeks ago, and I guess my kidney function is at 68. I guess that's good. I don't know. It's acceptable. A lot better than it could be. Mike, brother Mike, Captain America, he's like, yeah, that's not bad. He's like, 12 is bad. Of course, Mike got dicked around. Oh gosh, what is it? St. Luke's in Kansas City screwed him around. It might be in the medical books. You might be able to see it in a journal somewhere. Largest kidneys ever removed from a living human being at KU Med Center in Kansas City, Kansas. 22 pounds. I think they were 11 pounds apiece or 11 and a half pounds apiece. It's a pretty bad deal. Boy, he was skating there for a little bit. He was on that Michael Jackson juice in a coma for a long time. He had through a clot, ended up having an embolism right there, and he was in the ER to visit his mom. And man, that was jacked. I think he was in there for I don't know what seemed like an eternity, but I think it was somewhere around 8 weeks or 10 weeks. I don't know. It was bad. Yeah, and I know the dialysis folks would get pissed off at me because I go in and see him after work every day, and they'd be in there doing the dialysis, and it was minimum stimulation. Lights were down, they had the fucking mood candles going, trying to keep him. He was sedated, but still, he could end up getting active, and I'd walk in, hey Mike, what's going on? And he'd like try to crawl out of bed like Frankenstein. It's a jacked up deal. But anyway, no, not near that bad. I'm gonna survive, I guess. Which, we're all gonna die someday. We're not leaving here alive, so we just got to make the best of it while we can. Do the best we can for our families and those around us. Because I'll tell you right now, when it's my time, I'm gone. Don't expect for me to come and say goodbye. I'm out. But either way, yeah, I'm back, coming back strong. Just, it might have been stress hormones. So much shit since Sherry and I got back from vacation. Every fucking thing's been breaking down. Everything, every week. Lawnmower, pool, car, stereo, everything, every fucking thing. As far as the pool goes, I got like the pressure line underground is busted, and I got one suction on a skimmer. A skimmer line is busted. I was gonna try to do a trenchless repair, and I'm like, no. My guy that hosts the VCI retreats, he said, no, we'll just cut the concrete. Just cut the concrete. And that's what Cousin Eric said, just cut the concrete. So we're going to get up there maybe this weekend. I got to check with some folks and to get some help. Maybe I'll just do it by my damn self. I don't know. But I got to cut into that. But I had to replace the pump, the saltwater chlorinator, that, and then the damn pool robot threw a fit. I got to see, maybe it's solder joints on the microprocessor. I took that board out once and had to do like a repair on a wire, a feed wire. The connection was all jacked. So I soldered and spliced it in and got rid of the high resistance connection. And it's still doing the same damn thing. Well, I mean, it went to working for a little bit, and now it's back to doing the same crap. So I got to check the solder joints on that microprocessor and do a few other things before I decide to buy a new pool robot. The stereo in the Audi started throwing a fit. And it was kind of funny. I just got back from a run to the store. I had to get another 5-gallon jug of brake clean. I use that shit 5 gallons at a time. Well, I mean, not at one time, but that'll last me probably a year. Versus the spray cans, I use one of these. I have a couple of them, but I use those for my brake clean to clean parts and engines and crap like that. It's so much cheaper to spend $120 on a 5-gallon jug than it is to go through the spray cans, which the spray can will burn in, God, 3 minutes, and you buy a case of them, and then you got all these cans you have to dispose of. It's a nightmare. I was coming back, and I removed the amplifier from the Audi, which was a Bose concert amplifier. First experience I've had with them. So I removed it, and I grabbed one. I've got a pile of them. I grabbed a small one that I had because just this small amplifier is all I need. Really just enough to run the sub because my head unit can run all the speakers. So I get that in, and I was like, I really should check the impedance on that subwoofer. And I checked it, and it was 2 ohms. Now, if you're not electrically inclined, a 2 ohm load is kind of like just a light bulb. It's just a wire, right? And then a 4 ohm load is double the resistance of that. So it runs cooler. You distribute more heat at the load, and your circuit design, usually for a car stereo, is for a 4 ohm or an 8 ohm load. So a 2 ohm load will smoke your head unit. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that because my amp, I had a 4 ohm bridgeable amp. I hooked it up, put it in, and damn it, that one was throwing DC too. So I got another amp out of the pile, and it worked. So I got it all hooked up, and then I thought, well, I should check the rest of my speakers too. And I'll be darned, the entire stereo system of that Audi TT, every speaker unit, I call it a unit because you got a tweeter and then you got a mid-range, and then the woofers between the seats. Every speaker in that, or every circuit, audio circuit in that car is a 2 ohm circuit. So I ended up getting 5 because you got the subwoofer and then you got the 4 speakers. I ended up getting 5 like 25 watt resistors. So I'm cruising down the road. Well, I'm hauling ass. Just boogieing down the road, jamming on some tunes. And every time you drive by, we're out here in the country, you drive by, and somebody's probably out burning the trash or something, and you smell that plastic burning, and the first thing you think is, holy shit, is my car on fire? Because those resistors get hot. And I kind of got them out of the way and everything, but I had to have them, so I had to do all that shit. It was kind of funny, though. I'm in the back of the car. I had to take, like, the spare tire and everything to fit my fat ass down in there because here's your trunk, and here's your seats, and there's a cavity between the trunk and the seats, and that's where that shit's at. Cell phone, audio amp, and GPS and all that shit. That's where they cram that stuff back in there in that cavity. So I'm like laying in the trunk, and Raleigh was at the house, and Sherry's like, where's Grandpa? Where's Grandpa? Where's Grandpa? And he's like, Grandpa, where's Grandpa? And I said, here I am, buddy. And I stuck my hand out of the trunk. He looks in there, and he's like, Grandpa's stuck. And then he says, too big. I'm like, you little fucker. But anyway, I got that shit done. Sherry's Jeep, put all these parts in it, and then the crankshaft wanted to throw a fit. So I had to drop the crankshaft down out of the bottom of the engine, take it to my machinist. He says, oh, well, I'm real sorry. You wish you'd have showed up last week. I just changed my stone and put my wide stone on. So you got a wide stone for V8s and V6s. Because they run 2 journals, and then a narrow stone for inline motors. So I had to wait a week, and there was like literally a pile of crankshafts on his floor when I showed up to drop mine off. They were all the wides, V8s, V6s. So I had to wait a week for that to get done. Then he took a week off to go up to Knoxville to the Sprint Car Nationals, and then he come back, and it took him the entire rest of that week to get the damn crankshaft done. So that Jeep sat in here for weeks. I'll bet it was on this lift for 6 weeks. Anyway, I got it all back together. New, everything's new except the camshaft. The entire engine has been rebuilt. Anyway, well, valves and stuff, they're all the same. I got that shit all done. Flat tires on Sherry's car because when she goes to the kids' house to babysit Raleigh or whatever, they got construction going on in the neighborhood. And she's always running over screws and tacks and shit. I got to fix this and I got to fix that. So these stress hormones just build up. And I don't know. I like, it was down, I was down here working and I felt fine. It was like 6 o'clock in the evening. I go up to the house and that's about all I remember until I got up the next morning. I just wasn't feeling right. And I was like, I just lost like 12 hours of my life. I don't know what the hell happened. I took my blood pressure, and I think it was something like 171 over 135 or something. It was ridiculous. So I get to the hospital, and they didn't do shit for me. But I got some blood pressure meds because I was bad. I come off. I thought, well, I lost 15 pounds. I don't need blood pressure meds anymore. I'm good to go. Yeah, that's some bullshit. Don't do that. Don't do that. But I'm not going to quit nothing. Just going to keep on chugging. But I'll be good. I'll go to the doctors. I'll stay on my meds. I'll drink my 2 liters of water a day and eat salmon and try to get my calcium score leveled out. But when I was at the store, bam, I saw these. Chi-Chi's. Chi-Chi's Pina Colada and Chi-Chi's Long Island Iced Tea. Now, don't be fooled. This Long Island Iced Tea says it's like 12.5% alcohol by volume. Whoever buys that shit sits when they pees. Well, I mean, sorry. No, I just had to buy them though. It's Chi-Chi's. Funny story time. When I was stationed in 2 stories in one. You get 2 for today. When I was stationed in Heidelberg, buddy of mine went to Chi-Chi's for his birthday. They had a Chi-Chi's a couple towns over. I can't remember the name of the town. It wasn't Wiesloch. It was the opposite direction, northwest. Anyway, he stole their hat. He still has that Chi-Chi's hat. He lives down in St. Louis. Sorry, that tastes like crap. Same Chi-Chi's. 2 years later, 3 years later. I don't know if he had PCS or ETS. I was still there. Most of my buddies were gone, but I was still there. Same Chi-Chi's, kind of across the street. There was a guy stationed at the engineering battalion there, and he was married, and his wife was having an affair with one of his brothers, one of his soldiers, in the same platoon. Anyway, she was in the hospital, pregnant. She had Braxton Hicks. She was pregnant with the boyfriend's baby. And the boyfriend was on the phone with her. This happened in 1993. You can look it up. And the boyfriend said, I gotta go. Here comes your husband. This was in a telephone booth right across the street from the Chi-Chi's. And she saw her boyfriend one last time. Sadly, his head was removed from his body, and her husband had it in a pillowcase and threw it onto the bed in the hospital in Heidelberg. That happened. I out-processed, and this dude was in shackles and cuffs and was out-processing, not with me. We didn't out-process together, but I saw him a couple different times. And that's what the hell happened. Shit happens. Shit happens, I'm telling you. Kind of like what's going on down at Third Corps in Texas. They've got a real problem down there. I don't know what they're going to do to fix it, but I don't know if it's El Paso, Juarez, or it's all on base and all connected. But somebody's got to get down to the bottom of that shit because people are disappearing and people are dying, and that's not cool. Most of it, murder, some suicide. Anyway, this is the pina colada. The Long Island iced tea did taste like tea, but it kind of tasted like ass too. So it's ass tea. Pina colada, this is 12.5% by volume, which I like pina coladas probably much better than all Long Island iced tea. We'll find out. Yeah. Now that's good shit right there. These were $1.50 a piece, and they're about 6 ounces. So you can't take them on the plane because federal law says, I think 3 ounces or 3.5 ounces. So I don't know. Maybe a dozen of these in 3.5 ounce jugs, but that's really good. It's kind of like rum chata, really. It's got good flavor. I like it. Oh, and my fucking wheel balancer quit too. Last week, Dad come over to balance one of his tires on his Jeep, and the son of a bitch quit. It's not reading speed, motion, whatever. And I've done everything to that son of a bitch, and it's got to be in the microprocessor, and I can't get parts for it. There's another $1,000 fucking dollars down the drain. And this thing's got a broken camshaft. I got to take the camshaft out of a flathead motor. If you're interested in it, you're not going to find any videos on it other than a V8 flathead, but that's going to be fun too. But yeah, every week that broke down last week, so I don't know what's going to break down next week. Next week we're due for another breakdown, I suppose. But yeah, it'll be fun. We've got garage sale in Hutchinson next week, so my father-in-law is getting pretty ill. He's got melanoma, but you can't see it. It's under the skin, and he's got tumors on his ears, and they're cutting them off, and they're growing back. And of course, hey, well, it will. It's cancer. Guess what? It is what it is. When you're 87 years old, I don't know. We'll see what he does. He might do some Keytruda or something. We'll just have to see what he decides. They did a PET scan this week, so we'll find out more next week. And then everything settles down. Sherry booked us for a freaking cruise. I hate cruises because they're so gosh darn expensive. Hate them. I mean, I enjoy the water and the serenity and just I enjoy that. It's cool. But for the money, I can sit out here in my hot tub or on the back porch and watch the deer walk by. I don't know, man. I don't need to spend that kind of money, but whatever. Happy wife, happy life, right? Anyway, that's going to be, New Year's Eve, Panama. Now, Navy Davy thinks we're going through the Panama Canal halfway and turning around. I said, well, according to what I see, we're going to the front door and we're going to turn around and leave. We'll see what happens. We got like 4 stops on the way. Hopefully we can pick one like we did. I don't know if it's Turks and Caicos or where the hell we were at, but Dave and I got off at the port, and the girls were like, we're going shopping. All right, well, we see a sign right here that says dollar beers, and we're going to camp right there. We're pitching a tent. We're sitting here drinking our dollar beers. We drank them some bitches all freaking morning long. Here comes this girl walking by. She had a long shirt on, no pants. Oh, yeah, you know what I was doing. Click, 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 click. Oh, yeah, I was taking pictures and sipping on my beer. But anyway, we're going to have a good time, and I don't know what next year holds. Hopefully I'm still here, and hopefully you are too. But just live life and make the best of it. And, go to the doctor when you have to, man. I know they suck. Doctors are a pain in the ass. But we got to go. We got to take care of ourselves. And I promise you I'll do the same. All right? I got to do that for Sherry, right? And the kids and everybody else. What the fuck ever. Just take me, Lord. Take me. I'm ready. But anyway, enjoy life. Live it, because you might not be here tomorrow. What I had happen to me might have gone a lot different. So until we see each other again, have a great evening, wonderful weekend.